morning, everybody. Welcome. So I am Jonathan Campbell, principal of this amazing school, and we are gathered today in recognition of Veterans Day. Veterans Day is an annual day of remembrance, reflection, and an opportunity to say thank you to all of the people who have served our country in the military. On behalf of the entire staff and student body at Griswold School, we are honored to welcome our special guests, veterans of the various branches of service, to this program. We are very proud to have veterans in our family as well as our school community. Please give a warm round of applause, and when I put my hand up, please stop your applause to show our appreciation. Nice job, everybody. We appreciate the opportunity to recognize and thank the veterans still living today and to remember those no longer with us. We plan to celebrate their sacrifice and honor their memory. Students, this is our first assembly of the year, and I want to remind you of our expectations. Right now, I think you're doing an amazing job, and we're going to keep doing that. We hope this will... I can always shout. We hope this will be a meaningful experience for everyone. I think I skipped something. For everyone to ask for your cooperation to make things better. Remember our core values: being kind, safe, responsible, and to make things better. At the assembly, it is important to show respect by sitting on our bottoms, being an active listener to our speaker, which I see all of you doing if you're looking at me, and I appreciate that. Being respectful to those who are speaking by listening with our ears and not having a conversation with our friends. You are doing a fantastic job. We are going to begin today with the Pledge of Allegiance led by our 5th grade representatives. Please carefully rise at this time. At this time, Mrs. Bazina is going to lead us in the Star-Spangled Banner. Just the 5th grade? Just the 5th grade. Thank you, 5th graders. Next, we are going to provide a History of Veterans Day presented by our grade 5 speakers. For our speakers, we have Scott Debris, Gordon Moses, Jacob Robles, Annalyn Secor, Addison Acker, Henry Moskitz, Isabel Palmieri, and Luke Mislak.
Today is Veterans Day. Every year on November 11th, people in the United States celebrate Veterans Day. The holiday honors veterans or people who served in the U.S. military. Today's birthday honors those veterans who died while fighting in the war. Veterans Day used to be called Armistice Day. An armistice is an agreement to stop fighting. An Armistice Day was created to remember the end of World War I on November 11, 1918. The first Armistice Day in the United States was in 1919.
Armistice Day became an official national holiday in 1938. In 1954, Armistice Day was renamed Veterans Day to remember the soldiers who served not just World War I. To celebrate Veterans Day, some cities and towns have parades. Veterans from area may march in parades. Some people visit cemeteries on Veterans Day. People may put flowers or flags on graves of veterans to honor them.
At Griswold School, we recognize and honor the sacrifice of those who serve our country. We gather together each year for our annual Veterans Day Assembly. We honor members of our community and our families who have served in our Hall of Honor. We send letters and cards to veterans at our local Veterans Hospital and collect donations for boxes to boots, which sends care packages to service members abroad. We are grateful for everyone who has served our country. Veterans are people who have served in the military in times of war and peace. There are 5 branches in the military that we would like to acknowledge today. These are the U.S. Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, and Coast Guard. Each branch plays a unique role in the security of our country. The Army is the oldest and largest branch of the military, and established in 1775. The Army is considered to be the ground force of the military, along with the active duty soldiers. The Army also has 2 reserve groups, the Army Reservers and the Army National Guard.
The Navy was also established in 1775 and is considered to be the defender of the seas. The Navy is the main supporter of the Air Force because it transports aircraft and provides a runway at sea. The Marine Corps was established in 1775 and is the second smallest branch of the military. The main focus of the Marines is on ground force operations. This group does not have its own medical corps or National Guard, but it does have Marine Corps Reserves Unit. The Air Force is the newest branch of the military, officially established in 1947. Its main purpose is to support the security of the United States in air and space. The Air Force is also a main supporter of ground forces, providing air support during missions. This branch has 2 reserve units, the Air National Guard and the Air Force Reserve.
The Coast Guard is the smallest branch of the military, originally established in 1790. Many people do not realize that the Coast Guard is a separate branch with active duty military members. The Coast Guard's main jobs are to control illegal immigration by sea and conduct rescues at sea. It has 1 reserve unit, the Coast Guard Reserves.
Thank you to our 5th graders for providing the history of Veterans Day as well as introducing the branches of the military. At this time, Mrs. Bazina is going to lead the 4th grade class with our Armed Forces medley.
So the 4th graders are going to sing all of the songs Army.
Over hill, we will hit the dusty trail, and the caissons go rolling along. In and out, hear the shout, counter marching right about, and the caissons go rolling along. Then it's high, in the field artillery, shout out your numbers unstrung. Wherever you go, you always know that the caissons are rolling along.
The United States Marines.
From the halls of mountains to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of the United States Marines.
The United States Navy.
Anchors away, my boys, anchors away. Farewell to college shores, we sail at break of day. Through our last night on shore, drink to the full, until we meet once more. Here's wishing you a happy voyage home.
The United States Coast Guard.
We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in thee. Through surf, storm, and howling gale, high shall our purpose be. Semper Paratus is our guide, our fame and glory too. To fly, to sing, to fight and die, I Coast Guard we are for you.
The United States Air Force.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, to meet our thunder, attaboys, here they come. Rise, striking flame from under, off from Lawrence, terrible boys. We live in fame, we're down in flame, ain't nothing will stop the U.S. Air Force.
And at this time, I have great honor to introduce us to two veterans who have volunteered to say a few words about their experience while they served in their branch. First, I would like to introduce Mr. Cliff Cody of the Air Force.
Thank you all for being here. I'm honored to be here. Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to a few family members. One is Grayson Malloy, Hudson Renfrew, and my niece who's always losing a tooth every week, Julia Surface. Hi guys. I'm just going to speak about when I went into the service in 1964. I graduated high school, didn't know what I was going to do. I went to the post office in New Britain, and I joined the Air Force. It was a great 4 years. Ended up in Vietnam, which I didn't know where Vietnam was at the time. It was a great experience, and I just want to say that any kids that graduate high school and they have no thought of going to college or nothing like that, consider the military. It's a great honor. And it taught me obedience, structure, and discipline. And for that, I am truly thankful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cody. And I would also have the honor of introducing Mr. Heath Sheehan in the Army.
Good morning, Griswold Elementary. It is my distinct pleasure to be standing in front of you all today sharing my experiences of serving in the Army. I have been in the Army, more specifically the Connecticut Army National Guard, for 25 years. That's longer than most of you in this room have been alive. I would have never dreamed when I first signed up for the Army I would have been in for this long. I thought it would be a few years and help me pay for college, but the longer I stayed in and all the things I got to do and the friends I made helped me change my mind. I got to work full-time for the Army National Guard. In the Army, my job is a mechanic. So for the last almost 20 years, I get to work on the big Army trucks that you always see sometimes maybe on the highways. And I absolutely love it. A few years ago, I was put in charge of my own mechanic shop in Middletown. And now I have so much fun teaching all the new soldiers how to fix trucks. I have made so many friends too while in the Army. But the most important friend I have made in my life is Sergeant First Class Samantha Sheehan, back behind us today. For those of you who know Jeremy Mahoney, that's her mom and my wife. So if it wasn't for the Army, we would have never met, and I wouldn't have them as part of my life now. While I do enjoy my times in the Army, sometimes the Army will ask you to do some tough things, like travel far away from your friends and family and be away for months at a time. This has happened to me 4 times. 3 of those times I had to go to a country called Iraq. It could be dangerous over there. Sometimes people want to hurt you, but I stayed safe. I fixed trucks also while I was over there. That was my job even while I was overseas, and I came home. It can also be a little sad at times because while I was over there, I couldn't have things like Thanksgiving, Christmas. I was missing all of my family's birthdays, all because I was so far away. Then last year, I went to a place called Djibouti. I don't know if those who know, but that's in a continent called Africa. If you were in Miss Sashio's class last year, you may remember me. I video chatted with you all, and I read a book to you as the guest speaker for my son Jeremy. All I can say about that place is it was hot. Even at night, it was usually about 100 degrees. But I still tried to have fun with all my deployments. And the best part of me for that deployment was when I was on a base actually in another country called Kenya. And I got to feed some wild monkeys right out of the palm of my hand. They would just come straight up to us. And you can see in the first picture over there, that's me, that's my palm. And there, it's really tough to see, but that's a mama with a baby monkey on her stomach. And she was just eating the food and then giving it to her baby right out of the palm of my hand. But there's also times when the Army sometimes asks me to help out right here in Connecticut. Whenever there's a very bad snowstorm or a storm where we all lose power, the Army will ask all of us to help all of you. During one of the very bad snowstorms we had, it was my job to drive up and down the highways in one of my big Army trucks, and I would help the people that got stuck in the snow. The only bad part about that was it was all day and all night, so I would sleep for about 2 hours at a time, but I really enjoyed doing it. Other times when we have hurricanes or just the snowstorm or just the storms where we lose power, we go and we provide food and water to the people that have lost power in their homes and could not cook for themselves. These are the times I am most proud of because I am helping all my friends and neighbors like you all. I think I'll wrap it up here. I've been in for so long and I have so many stories that I could go on and on. But I will finish up by saying this. If I had to do it all over again, I absolutely would, because I get to come back to places like here and meet and speak to boys and girls like you about all the good and sometimes bad times that I've had in the Army. Thank you to the faculty and staff of Griswold Elementary for inviting me for this outstanding opportunity, and for all of you taking your time to listen about my experiences. And I also want to give a thank you to those of you who have contributed to boxes and boots. While I was in Africa, I believe we received about 900 of those packages that I was able to give out to my soldiers and everything. And I don't know if you guys are aware, we got them the week before Christmas, so that was an outstanding Christmas gift from all of you guys, and I really appreciate it, and it wouldn't have happened without people like you, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cody, Mr. Sheehan. At this time, I'm going to introduce some community kids for a presentation. We have speakers Ben Johnson, Andrea Grant, Maja Jelinski, and they're going to be talking about the Hero Boxes collection for local veterans and service members abroad.
Our Griswold School Community College came together for a common goal, to bring smiles to our soldiers who cannot be home with their families for the holidays. Community kids helped collect items for boxes to boots, a program started by a former Griswold student, D.M. Dawkins, and his family. Griswold School filled 6 boxes with items for the troops.
We know that some of our soldiers receiving a care package is the only connection to home they have. Our soldiers are our heroes. These care packages are a sign of our appreciation and support. Thank you.
Thank you, community kids. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Vazina.
Please join us in singing America's Beautiful.
Wow, Griswold students, that sounded amazing. Nice work. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Quinn for a special little celebration.
Good morning, and thank you to all of you for gathering today for such an important celebration of our veterans. Can we give them all a round of applause one more time? helpers come on up. So today and every day, we honor the service and sacrifice of those who have served our country. We would like to honor each of the veterans gathered here today. When we call your name, please come forward so that we may recognize and thank you for your service. Heath Sheehan, Army. You can clap. Samantha Sheehan, Army. David Lallier, Navy. Tom Moskides, Marines. Dave Dobler, Army. Richard DeSanto, Navy. Joe Greco, Navy. John Simeon, Air Force. Thomas Higgins, Army. Walter Cerniak, Army. James York, Army. Dave Hungerford, Navy Seabee. John Coyle, Navy. Charles Loya, Navy and Air Force. Alan Trott, Air Force. Anthony Cruz, Air Force. Kyle Alger, Marines. Matthew Correo, Marines. Stephanie Correo, Navy. Leon Zahaba Jr., Army. Daniel Donovan, Army. Jeffrey Gonzalez, Army. Kenneth Bouchard, Navy. Craig Meldau, Navy. George Kanefka III, Navy. Peter Papineau, Air Force. Robert Kowalczyk, Army. Clifford Cody, Air Force. Gary Thompson, Army. Richard Brochu, Marines. program, Marines. And finally, we'd like to recognize Christopher Davis. He is the father of Olivia Davis. Mr. Davis was deployed the day after Olivia began kindergarten here at Griswold School this year. His wife, Caitlin, is here today to accept this flower on his behalf and in recognition of the great sacrifices of our military families that they make each day. We thank the entire Davis family Olivia and Georgia for your service to our country. Thank you so much. Let's give them another round of applause.
Thank you, Mrs. Quinn. And next, I will turn it over to Mrs. Zazina.
So this is the last song we have for you today. It's called The Song for Unsung Heroes.
Thank
Wow, students, that was spectacular. Well done. At this time, I want to take a moment of silence to recognize all of our veterans, past and present. So at this time, please take a moment of silence. Thank you. Students, we need to make sure we recognize several people who have made this assembly possible. And I want to start with all of you, because you have been a fantastic audience. And your singing has been outstanding. It is a very important day that we are honoring our veterans, and you have been very, very well behaved. Excellent job. I also need to make sure we thank several other people, and I'm sure I'll forget a few, I always do, but we need to make sure we recognize a few other people that have been putting a lot of work behind the scenes and have helped make this possible. First, I want to start with our community kids and our grade 5 presenters. Excellent job today. Two special individuals who have spent the last several weeks making sure that this would be as amazing as it was, Mrs. Bazina and Mrs. Wilson. Mr. McCabe spent countless time this morning in preparing. I'm sure you noticed our beautiful hallway today. Mrs. Steimer, Mrs. Gemmel, and of course Mrs. Clokey and her class for helping with so many amazing decorations. I also want to recognize Mr. Smith and his crew in the back who has made this possible so that families who are unable to attend today would be able to view this either while it was live or at another time. Thank you, Mr. Smith and your crew. And lastly, before we begin the dismissal process, I also want to make sure we recognize our veterans one last time with a round of applause. And as you have learned, it is not just our veterans who have countless sacrifices, but also their families who continue to support them. Thank you to those families of veterans. At this time, we are going to begin dismissing. And students, first make eyes with your teacher, and we are going to dismiss not all at once. We're going to begin with the classes closest to the doors, but make sure you have eyes on your teacher before you begin to dismiss. We will start in the back with Mr. D. And on this side, oh yes. Before, Mr. D, hang on one second, please. One last, no, I forgot to say. Any